been growing a lot of pak choi late here in the fall, and I found a great recipe online. I'll leave a link to it below the video. It's from the Jamie Oliver website. So that's where I started, and I ended up using a lot of things from my garden, so this is what I ended up using for the recipe that I'm going to show you. And I'll leave this below the video as well. You're of course welcome to do a screenshot, and also below the video you can print them out. So I'm starting with a flat iron steak, and if you live locally, I can get these very easily at a little grocery store called Food Lion. I can't find them at a lot of the other grocery stores. So I'm just going to cover it with a little bit of oil and then some cumin along with some coarse salt. You can just use regular salt if you want to. I'm just kind of in love with coarse salt right now, so that's what I'm using, and I'll just set that aside and prepare the rest of the ingredients. The mushrooms, I'm using shiitake mushrooms, and I just want to remove the stems, and then I'll brush off any dirt on here, and that should clean them fine for the dish. Sometimes I wash them if I'm using button mushrooms, but for the shiitake I'll just brush them off, and then we just need to give them a good tear. Now my ginger, I don't need a whole lot of ginger. I'll go ahead and peel it with my vegetable peeler. You can use the end of a spoon to peel it as well. That should be fine. I find that the vegetable peeler will also give me the nice thin strips that I'm looking for, so I'm using the vegetable peeler for that. I'll go ahead and slice the serrano pepper. I had this in my freezer, so I don't like to use my good knives when I slice my frozen foods from my freezer, so it'll dull them pretty quick. So I want to go ahead and peel the carrot. I will use this little julienne vegetable peeler to cut it into little thin strips, and I did a video on that probably a year or two ago, so I'll leave a link to it if you'd like to check it out. I love that little tool there. So I'll set those aside and we'll chop up the scallion. I want to tear the kaffir lime leaves just a little bit so it can release some of that flavor when we go to cook it, and we'll just give the shallot a quick peel. And I want to just slice this instead of mincing it up or anything. I like the little rings of shallots. And we'll break those up real good. And now I'm using this sweet potato noodle. You can get these at your Asian market, and my son and I visited our Asian market a year or two ago, so I'll leave a link to that video. That was fun. And so you can use a rice noodle as well if you want to. I just happen to have the sweet potato ones. I love the texture of those. And then our chili pepper, you want to get some pretty hot. I ended up using 2 and well, it was pretty hot, but I had to correct it in the end, and you'll see how that goes here in a bit. So the pak choi is wonderful, and I picked it a little bit young before they were about to bolt. I had some already bolting on me, so I wanted to go ahead and just pull the whole plant. And so I made some really nice chicken stock, and I'm just going to cook the pak choi whole, so I don't need to do much to it. You can certainly cut it down if you want to. Now in some water, I'm going to go ahead and cook my noodles according to the package directions, and I'm just putting my kaffir lime leaves in here just to kind of infuse that water. I went ahead and threw my carrots in here as well. And for these noodles, I'll need to cool them off in some ice water, and I'll drain those. And these cook really fast, by the way, so this is not something that takes much time. And I'll just put those aside while I get everything else ready. So I'll go ahead and begin by searing the steak. And in a really hot wok here, you can use, of course, it's like a cast iron skillet would be good too. I'm going to just sear all sides, and I love these little tongs because you can lock them into place, and it'll help hold your steak upright on the sides, because sometimes it's hard to do the sides and the top and the bottom. So I'll go ahead and sear all sides here, and I'm doing this just until it gets a nice color. It usually takes about 1 minute on each side because my pan is pretty hot, okay? And now I want to go ahead and get my shallots going along with the chili and the ginger. So I'm going to cook these for about another minute or 2, not too long. I'm still keeping an eye on my steak. I don't want to overcook it, so I'm just kind of feeling of it as I go. And it's starting to cook pretty good here, so I don't want to overcook it. Just feel of it. You don't want it to be, raw feeling. Of course, you'll just want to cook your steak to your liking. I don't like mine to be too raw, but I do want it pink. So I'll go ahead and add the mushrooms along with the stock. and the cabbage leaves and the pak choi. I'm just going to tear these a little bit. Like I said, you can chop those down if you want to. I'm letting my steak cook just a tiny bit more. Oh, feels ready, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I'm going to go ahead and let it just rest for a few minutes while I finish everything up. Now I want to give it a taste because, you know, I added more chili. For some reason I was craving some heat. Well, I made it too hot, so I added a little bit of sugar and a tablespoon of coconut cream, which I had in the refrigerator, just to kind of bring down that heat a little bit. You know, the sugar will do that along with fats, so that's always a nice thing to do if you feel like you've got too much heat in there. Now I'll add my noodles. I'll just go ahead and get them coated well with everything. I want to go ahead and give it one more final taste for seasoning. I have been seasoning it along the way, and now I'll go ahead and just slice my steak. I'm kind of doing it on a diagonal here, and it's nice and tender. I love the little flat iron steaks. They're not expensive either. I think I got 2 of those there. Those 2 were like $4. And I forgot to cut my noodles. You should cut those when you pull them out, and I did not because they're really long, so make sure you do that. And now we can go ahead and transfer everything to our dish. We are almost there. This is just wonderful. I love it, love it, love it. I did want to put just a little bit of crunch of a coarse salt there on the top because I just love coarse salt with things like lamb chops or steaks. I just like to put a little tiny crunches of salt on there. And now I have my cilantro, green onion, and the watercress, and dig in. These noodles sure are hard to eat, but they are worth it. I love the texture of them. They are just wonderful with a meal like this. I hope you can give it a try. Like I said, I got those at the Asian market, and you can also substitute rice noodles. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please let me know by giving me a big thumbs up. Also, please feel free to share this on your favorite social media. I am only on YouTube and Google Plus at this time, so if you're out there sharing videos on your Facebook, I sure would appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and y'all have a beautiful day.